Hello, boys and girls. This is your old friend RJ City, and this is the Hollywood Squared Circle, where we talk about wrestling episodes of non-wrestling shows. And today we are talking about a Suddenly Susan two-parter, Season 3, episodes 19 and 20, entitled, In This Corner, Susan Keane. For those of you who don't know, Suddenly Susan aired on NBC from 1996 to 2000, spanning 4 seasons and 93 episodes. It starred Brooke Shields as Susan, a San Francisco magazine writer who writes for a magazine. The series also starred Nestor Carbonell, Kathy Griffin, Barbara Barry, Judd Nelson, David Strickland, Andrea Benenwald, and Sherry Shepard, and then later, for some reason, Eric Idle. This wrestling episode only has one actual wrestler, Hollywood Hogan, who is credited as Terry Hogan. I guess this was him trying to branch out his brand. I'll never forget as a kid, I was a huge fan of Terry Hogan. Go get him, Terry. Terry Mania is running wild. This was also in 1999, so the NWO split up, and then there was NWO Black and White and NWO Wolfpack, and then they got back together to form some kind of super group, but then Hogan would go back to the red and yellow right after this, so it's just a really confusing time for everyone. Anyway, here's what happens. Susan decides to run for a seat on city council. I guess she's fighting for change because everyone seems so miserable living in San Francisco. And everyone's like, Susan, be careful, you have some stiff competition. There's this sleazy wrestler that's running too. And Susan's like, I'm gonna run a good, clean campaign. I don't care who it is. And then the elevator door opens and Hollywood Hogan comes out basically in his full gear with an entourage. And then he's like, so this is who I'm running against? And there's a bunch of typical bullshit wrestler lines. Then everyone in the office tries to step up to him one by one and he frightens them all. Honestly, it's like the same joke 8 fucking times. And then Susan's like, oh, I'm gonna kick this guy's ass at a debate. So they have this debate in a jam-packed, tiny high school gym thing. And Susan comes out all serious and professional, and then Hogan does a full wrestling entrance with the posing and the fireworks, and everyone's cheering because, of course. And the whole debate, Susan's giving legit answers, but Hogan's giving these wrestling promo answers, and everyone's cheering anyway, and she doesn't know what to do. And that's the end of part 1. It's a real cliffhanger. And then in part 2, Susan finally gives in to dirty politics and she does this hit job commercial where she's in a ring beating up a guy who's dressed as Hogan. Oh no, she's lost her moral compass. But she figures if this is what I gotta do, then this is what I gotta do. So they have the vote and then Susan loses in a total landslide and Hogan is now on city council, which how he would have the time to even do this is beyond me. Anyway, Susan goes over to Hogan's house to concede, but then this old maid opens the door and she's like, oh yes, do come in. And Susan's like, what the hell is this? So Susan goes in the house and there's this rich, fancy, beautiful mansion, and then Hogan walks in wearing a knit sweater and khakis, and Susan's like, the fuck is this? And Hogan's like, that Hollywood Hogan stuff is all just a show. This is the real me. And then he starts talking about the legitimate reform he's gonna bring to the city, and Susan goes, wow, Hogan, I misjudged you. I'm sorry. The city will be in good hands. And then as she leaves, she sees Kathy Griffin and realizes she's been sleeping with Hogan the entire time. And that's the episode. And I know what you're saying. Where's the wrestling? Well, there is a bonus scene during the credits. Susan and Hogan are in the ring. It's an indie ring, but not horrible. And Susan is begging Hogan to wrestle. And he's like, no, let's be cool. And she's like, okay, fine. She goes to shake his hand and then she just grabs it, whips him into the ropes, and hits him with a stiff clothesline. And Hulk Hogan bumps on a stiff, Suddenly Susan clothesline. And then he sells up and she fucking body slams him. Brooke Shields body slammed Hulk Hogan. No editing, one take, and it's not a shitty half-ass slam either. It's a decent enough body slam. Credit to Brooke Shields for muscling him the fuck up, and credit to Hogan for giving the rub to Brooke Shields and Brooke Shields only. Why she never did a WCW pay-per-view, I do not understand. This is the crossover we've been waiting for. I think Brooke Shields still has another run left in her. Many will say the slam heard around the world was when Hulk Hogan slammed Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3, but for my money, the body slam I will never forget is when Brooke fucking Shields slammed Hulk fucking Hogan. So that was the two-parter wrestling episode of Suddenly Susan. This has been the Hollywood Squared Circle, and I have completely wasted your time.
Guests of the RJ City Show, subscribe to his channel, follow him on social media, and buy his t-shirts at prowrestlingtees.com/RJ City.